Welcome, traveler.
Welcome back, guys. We are at the runway in our A380 here in Doha. We are in the Qatar Alpha 7 Alpha Papa Foxtrot A380. Beautiful airplane sporting the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. Wow. And so we are just about to take off. If you are just viewing this video, please go back to the previous one in the series where you can learn about the pre-flight, cockpit preparation, the flight management computer setup, the engine start and taxi, and then you come back to this video. So we are holding short of runway 34 right here at Doha. And what you want to do at this point, pilots, I believe, would be doing the review of the departure. So we're departing off of runway 34, and our departure is the Al-Sem through Echo. And we take off on runway 34 right, heading 336. At Adbib, at above 500 feet, we make a right turn towards Reven, then a right turn towards Alped, then to Go Blue, then towards Alsem, and we'll maintain flight level 210 for our short flight over to Dubai. Once again, once we depart at or below 80 knots and V1, if we should have any warnings come up on the ECAM, we will call stop and close the thrust levers. Then we will assess the situation, make a left on any of the taxiways that are available to us, and then taxi back around. And if we're able to fly, we will simply reset and come back around. If not, we'll taxi back to the gate and call it quits for the day. At or above V1, we are committed to the takeoff. We will climb up to 3,000 feet, level off, clean up the airplane. We will assess the situation. We are well below our landing weight and our takeoff weight, so we can come back around without dumping any fuel, land on runway 34 right, and then we will taxi and head to our gate. If there are any questions, then we can proceed with the takeoff. So at this point, we turn on our lights, taxi lights, and our runway turn off lights. We can then run the departure, the checklist. Our lineup checklist is going to be runway 34 right, and we verify that on both sides. Cabin crew has been advised, pack 1 and 2 is on, and the lineup checklist is complete. Release the parking brakes, and we will taxi onto the runway. Little breakaway thrust and get the aircraft moving. Once we get onto the runway, we can then turn off this navigation display and give us back our zoom. The A380 also gives us runway awareness, so it will let us know that we're approaching a runway. So we'll see that come up on the display shortly. So it tells us runway ahead on the PFD and also on the display. So we clear left and clear right. Go a little bit extra and we will make that turn. Straighten ourselves up. We're ready for takeoff. Ready for takeoff. Exterior lights as required. And we can now set our display back out to 10 nautical miles. Everything is set. We are ready to go. Advanced throttles to 50%. Start the chrono. Pressure on the stick. Use our rudder pedals to line up 50%, and that should have allowed us, right, so man flex 66 SRS and run the other thrusters blue. Should have called 80 knots a long time ago. 13 B1 rotate, and we see the aircraft rotates. You don't have to pull back too much on this stick. Nav, positive rate, gear up, and we can watch our airplane soar into the air. That is a beautiful airplane, guys. Beautiful airplane. For some reason, my throttle did not do what it was supposed to do to get to flex, but we figured it out, so we're good. So we are climbing. Climb thrust. Climb. Nav. Get back on our path. Flaps. Speed check. Flaps up. And so we're to cross at bib at or above 5,500. And then our next climb is supposed to be 4,000. We're going to ignore that right now, and we're going to continue climb up to flight level 210. So we'll do autopilot A, and we'll do open climb, which would allow our airplane to climb to flight level 210. So we're at AdBib now, making the right turn to Radeon. So we see on our flight plan here on our chart, make the right turn towards Radeon. We should maintain 230 knots, which is what we're going to do until we get to Radeon. And again, one of the things to be mindful of as well is that the aircraft is a little bit overpowered. Fly-by-wire says that they are going to be working on to fine-tune that. So don't be alarmed if the aircraft decides to speed off with you in there. We see that we have a vertical speed now of 4,800. So the aircraft is going to be climbing, plus we are extremely light, only 150 people on board. So we are extremely light. The next thing we're going to be looking for is our transition altitude. And so we will wait for that to flash. And the transition altitude here is 13,000. So we will, once we cross 13,000 feet, we can then change that. Passing 10,000, we will then take off the external lights. And we will allow the aircraft to climb. The whale has departed. One beautiful airplane. I didn't think that I would have been such a fan of the A380, but I'm telling you, Fly-by-Wire has changed my mind. They have definitely changed my mind. So kudos to Fly-by-Wire, kudos to you guys. You've done an excellent job, and I know you'll continue to do an excellent job with making this airplane even more flyable than it already is. Beautiful, beautiful airplane. So we've now passed our transition altitude. So we will go standard set. We're now climbing towards Alped. And because it's a short flight, once we get to flight level 210, we will definitely begin doing our approach, prepping for the approach so that we can definitely be prepared for that descent. Alt star. according to our flight plan, we should be below 4,000 at Alped and then below level 210 at Alsem. So we will maintain 210 for our flight. We are to maintain 250 until passing Alped. So we will maintain 250 knots until crossing that. Then we'll see our speed gradually increase once we get past that point. So I turn on the traffic so that traffic can display on the PFD, and then our constraints, which would have been showing here. So this is flight 210, here is 4,000. But we've ignored that. However, it is recommended at once, especially if you're on the air traffic control, that you obey the crossing restrictions. If you are told to climb via the SIN, then you ought to ensure that you maintain those restrictions. Once the restriction is not required, air traffic control will definitely let you know, climb unrestricted. So you definitely hear that. So alt cruise, and we now see that our speed is now increasing to our cruise speed. And we will fly right along. If we look at our navigational, our MCDUs or MCDUs, we see that we have 229 nautical miles still to go. We will arrive with 17 tons, or we currently have 17 tons right now, but we should arrive, we should arrive at 17 with 17 tons. We currently have 20 tons remaining, and we should arrive at this time. Now, this time is not totally accurate in terms of daytime, but based on the current time, we should get there at 5:22. It is now 4:40, so in roughly 40 minutes, thereabout. Short flight. So we get there very shortly. So as you see, at about 5 o'clock or 5 UTC is when our top of descent is going to be. So we don't have much time once we get past Alsem or get out of the standard instrument departure. So at the departure gate, or that transition, which is Alsem, we don't have much time shortly after that for top of descent. So we will get that set up for us now, which will be the VTEB 3 Echo. So we'll have that available just now. Give you some more outside views of the airplane. The whale. So let's look at the approach. For our approach, we're using the VTEB 2, so we are using chart 10-2 hotel, 5th July 2024, effective 11 July. We are to cross VTEB at or below, since we're using VTEB 3 Echo, we're to cross it below 10,000 feet at 230 knots. Then we go towards Delta Bravo 400 below 7,000 feet. Then we're to use Delta Bravo 406 below 6,000, and at Delta Bravo 402 we should slow down to 210 knots and make a left, come around. By solid we should be at 185 knots. Then O down, then right towards Delta Bravo 414, right to Delta Bravo 413, then to re-rec. What we may very well do is we descend to 6,000 feet towards Delta Bravo 402. Then we make the left and follow Oda. Once we get to Oda, we will make a right turn direct to Rirek. At that point, we will be at 4,000 feet. Let's check our approach, which is the ILS runway 12 left. And so at Rirek, we're to be at 2,000 feet. At or above 2,000 feet, then Erkrim, then to Delta Bravo 612, mandatory 2,000 feet, and by then we'll have the glide to descend towards runway 12. For missed approach here, our missed approach on 11-1, effective 3rd November 22. Missed approach to climb direct to Delta Bravo 611, then on track 105 to TAL 2. Hold at 3,000, then refer to the minimums for missed approach climb gradient. So we make left towards TAL 2 and then we'll hold. And based on our MSA, between 0 and 180 is 3,800 feet. Between 180 and 270, 2,400, and 270 and 350 is 3,000. Transition altitude is 130, transition level is 150. And the airport elevation is 62 feet and runway is 120. We don't have a landing performance either, so we simply just take those numbers with a grain of salt and input them. Now, there are two ways that we do this. You can use the information here, which is the top of the descent is at, and that is actually shown on the primary flight display. So if we zoom out, we're able to see that our top of descent indicator is there. So what I like to do is to start my top of descent about 20 miles from the top of descent, and that will give us a gradual descent. Or you can definitely look on the chart and you will see where we need to be at. We need to be at, on the arrival, VTEB at or below 10,000 feet, since we're using VTEB 3 Echo. So we go to the performance top of descent, and we want to enter 10,000. Sorry, our current altitude, we sync that. We have to fly level 210, and we want to get to a target speed of 10,000 with a 3-degree angle. So it means that we need to start a descent at 35 nautical miles before VTEB. So with that information, we can definitely, once we are 35 miles from our top of descent, or from VTEB rather, we should start our descent. However, we're going to utilize 20 miles from our top of descent indicator, which will give us, or should give us, a nice descent with our managed descent. So we're not going to use open descent, we'll use managed descent once we get to that top of descent. So let's look at the arrival. OMDB. Winds are out of the east-northeast at 3 knots, so winds are calm. And we have CAV OK, temperature 29, a nice warm toasty 29 degrees, and our QNH is 1013. We can set our QNH 1013 right now, just so that once we get into a descent, that is already set for us. Welcome back, guys. We are at the 20-mile mark, so we're going to set our descent now to 10,000 feet, and we will do a managed descent. Turning back on the seatbelt signs, let our passengers know it's time to get back in their seats. And so we'll begin a nice descent down to 10,000 feet. Our QNH is, so now our MCDU is telling us we need to set our data. So our approach information, the wind, let's double check the wind. Wind is 070 at 3. So we put that in 070 at 3. Outside temperature is 29, and our QNH is 1013. When we look at our chart for the arrival, ILS 1 to left. For our decision height is 223 feet. So we put that into the barrel here, 223, enter, and our data is set so we can clear info, and our information is in as we continue our descent down to 10,000 feet. In this video, I will not demonstrate the brake to vacate. What we'll do is we will turn our landing to low. We have ample runway length. So let's look at the airport information. Runway 12 left is 14,275 feet. So that's ample time, ample space, ample distance. So we will land using the auto brake low. And as we looked at the charts from Doha, this is the code F taxiing. So we're looking here to see that we have on the legend code F taxi routes unrestricted, prohibited with the red ones, and then we have some non-standard taxi operations. Then we have the green lettering, which will give us our code F stands. And so we see that we have all of these on Concourse C with the Foxtrot gates, Concourse B, and we have Concourse A. So quite a bit of gates available here in Dubai, and of course, why not? Because Dubai has one of the largest set of A380s in the world. So many of the gates can house it. So what we'll do is we will land on runway 12 left. We hope to vacate via Mike 7 Alpha or Mike 9. Hopefully we're not going to do any floaties today. So our touchdown zone is around here. So we'll land and we'll do Mike 9er or Mike 12, and then we'll taxi to, if we get off at Mike 9, then we can take Mike 10 Bravo across to Kilo 7. If not, we will do Mike 112, make a left, go straight towards the Mike 13 Bravo, cross over to Kilo 10, and then taxi over to the nearest available gate. Descending through 15th flight level 150, and we've now crossed our transition level. Therefore, we will set standard 10. Is it 1003 or 1013? 1013. 1013. That is set. The next checklist item is the approach. And we've now done the bar reference of 1013. That is set. Seatbelt sign is on. The minimum is 223, which is set. Auto brake low. Approach checklist is complete. Coming up at 10,000 feet, let's set our altitude now to 7,000, which will be the next waypoint. We make the right turn direct to Delta Bravo 400. Passing 10,000 feet, external lights come on. 10,000, landing lights come on, wing lights come on. Turn on all of those. What we notice is that the landing lights and nose lights actually turn off once the aircraft wheels go up. So we can turn them all on right now. I'm going to change the approach, and I'll show you something that you would need to be mindful of in terms of how do you go direct to. So we'll do that with the approach just now. So you're flying along, and air traffic control tells you Qatari 1 Papa Hotel. Let's say we get direct to Adlal. Let's slow the aircraft down initially to 215 knots. You know what? Let's slow down to 210. Then air traffic control says Qatari 1 Papa Hotel, fly direct Adlal. What we would do is go to the MCDU, click on Adlal, and we're going to do from present position direct to. Once you click that, you will click the direct to and click insert. So the aircraft would now turn and fly direct to. If you need to input something into the FMC, you click on, let's say we want to input DB413. Click on DB413, then we insert next waypoint, and in here there's a drop down list that you can say going direct to those, or you can actually type. So let's just suppose we want to type REREC. So we'll type REREK, and then we click enter, and it will take us direct to REREC. So that's another thing you can do in terms of adding a waypoint. Adlal is 7 miles out. At this point, we will arm the landing system, which will tell us how far we are from India Delta Bravo Lima, which is the identifier for runway 12 left. We see that we have our localizer and our glide slope available. So we will fly direct to Adlal, maintain 4,000 since we are still 20 miles out. We can then use our heading select, and we'll turn right, heading 010, and we'll continue our descent down to 4,000. Activate our approach phase here via the MCDU. We will confirm. Continue the right turn, heading 050. And we'll slow to 190. Speed check, flaps 1. And we'll arm the localizer. Listen to those flap sounds. And we see the ailerons doing their thing. Localizer is captured, and we are at 4,000 feet just about. So we're going to slow the aircraft down to 180. And we'll maintain 4,000 feet until we get to REREC. REREC is 2 miles. Then we descend to 2,000 feet. And we see that the glide slope is moving. So we have a glide slope alive. So we can arm the approach. Landing checklist. We'll fill that out once the aircraft is fully configured. So we're descending through 3,300 right now, getting ready to get to 2,000. Then we maintain 2,000 till established on the glide path, and we descend with the glide. Speed check, flaps 2. $10 miles out, gear down. Watch these gears coming down. Maintain 2,000 feet till established on the glide. So we're at 2,000 feet. Flaps 3. Speed check. And once we get on the glide, we will then go to manage speed and allow the aircraft to go to final approach. And then we call the next checklist. Manage speed. Flaps full. Glide slope is now captured. Glide star. And right on time, where we are supposed to be fully configured. Now we can run the landing checklist. Ground spoilers is now armed. Landing checklist is complete. So 3,000 feet set as the missed approach. All landing lights are on. We are good to go. At 500 feet, we will disarm the autopilot and land this plane. 500 feet. My airplane.
400.
Check. Small correction. Maintain 2 red, 2 white.
Minimum.
Continue.
100.
Check.
50.
Right over the numbers.
40. 30. 20.
Flare.
Retard.
Close the thrust and touchdown. Speed brakes up. Decel. Reversers green. Looking lovely. 70 knots. Reversers lights out. And we can manually brake.
Auto brake off.
Auto brake is off. And so we'll exit at Mike 7 Alpha. And we can get our ground turn on the timer. And we will exit towards the right. And we will we'll go straight ahead, make a left, and then turn right onto Mike 10 Alpha. Clean up the airplane. Spoilers come down, flaps go to 0. So we make a left onto this taxiway. Let's see, this is taxiway Mike. and then we make a right on the next taxiway, which will be Mike 10, and we'll cross runway 12 right, and just taxi to any one of the gates that are across here. Start the APU, master switch on, 1, 2, 3, 4, start switch. Clear the left, clear the right. And of course we get the runway ahead, runway 12 right, 30 left. So the aircraft is going to tell you, so you're not surprised, you're not shocked by this information. You're pretty much aware as you are taxiing. And again, one of the greatest things is that you're able to see all of this by simply casting your eyes. So you don't need to worry about looking all over the place, like looking to the left, looking to the right. I should have access to the onboard. You can do that once you are on final with brake to vacate, as well as another way you can deal with that. Let's see, we have Echo, this is Alpha 2. Let's see if Alpha 2 is one of those gates. So we'll just pause here for a moment before I open up the window again. Let's check for the taxi. And Alpha 2 is one of those gates for the A380. APU is available, so let's do the APU bleed. Turn off these lights. And we can call GSX to go to Alpha 2. Alpha 2. There we go. Alpha 2 is right here, so we don't need that. And so we can turn off the takeoff light, taxi into Alpha 2, which is right to our left. Turn off lights so we don't blind our ramp agents. And we will park here at Alpha 2. Hopefully in Microsoft 2024 we can get multiple gates onto the airplane, multiple jet bridges to the airplane, which will make it a bit more realistic, rather than just having one jet bridge for such a mammoth plane. Slow down just a bit. Let's see if we can see, yes, so we're a bit off to the right. Slow it down just a bit, turning left to get back on the straight. Ooh. And 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. And we're right on the line. Perfect. Parking brake is set. APU is available, and we are on APU bleed, so we can turn off the engines 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn off the request deboarding, then we will turn off the no device, and we'll allow the jet bridge to come to the airplane. And that is now going to jet bridge. Alright, there we go. So the jet bridge is now at door number 2. So that looks more realistic than door number 1. But let's hope that that Microsoft 2024 will be at a better place where that is concerned. Engine page, engine is below 5%, so we can turn off our beacon. And we can put on 2, 3, 1, 4. And we will turn our cargo doors in the on mode. And we're at the gate. Welcome to Dubai, guys. Welcome to Dubai. In just a minute or so, we'll do the shutdown. Just want to make sure that all of the aircraft systems are the way they're supposed to be. So we're seeing the doors are opening finally, nice and slowly like they would on the real airplane. In our serve, we go to FMC number 2, go to serve, and we will turn off our transponder. We'll also turn off the weather and traffic constraint from the MCP. Turn off the landing system, and we can take off our flight directors. The system goes back to the data page once it is landed. In the overhead, we can turn off our fuel pumps. If they want to turn off, there we go. All fuel pumps are off, and we can turn off our ADIRUs. And that's set. Everything is set here. We can turn off the radio. Everything is set. Once that is done and we are comfortable, we're ready to leave the airplane. Oh, we need to do the last checklist that's there. The parking checklist. Parking brakes and chocks are on. Engines are off. Wing lights are off. Fuel pumps are off, and that's automatically completed. That's set. And for the secure aircraft, oxygen is off. Emergency lights come off. Supply oxygen here is off. Then the EFB comes off. EFB is off. Then our batteries come off. We'll take off the external powers. Then our batteries can come off. And the checklist is complete. The APU. And so that's coming off. And it will not shut down right away because the aircraft still has power. But once that starts to drain, then the aircraft will go black. All right, guys, that is it. We are at the airport in Dubai. We've just landed with the A380 by Fly-by-Wire. I really do hope that this flight would have given you enough to get familiar with the aircraft, play around with it. I mean, you can't break anything, it's flight sim after all. But you want to practice as much as possible to actually use the standard operation procedures and the checklist. That is available to you. That would help you to fly the aircraft as well. You can also use the Fly-by-Wire website, which will give you the quick start written form. So this is the video form of what is pretty much on that website. So you can actually visualize what is being done while you're reading. And there you have the APU going out. And so we should be blank in the, there we go. So the aircraft is now cold and dark, just as we met it back in Doha. So if there are any questions, guys, feel free to ask in the comments. We'll try as much as possible to answer it. Until the next time, please make sure that you, if you haven't already done so, like and subscribe. If you are appreciating the content, feel free to leave a donation. There's a link on the channel. And of course, as always, I would say, please take care of yourselves. Until next time, have an awesome, awesome day.